Imagine reaching 80 years old, looking back and whispering, "I wish I had done that sooner." Most elders don't regret what they did. They regret what they never tried. Today, we'll share 10 powerful lessons elders wish they learned earlier in life, so you don't repeat their mistakes. These lessons come straight from people who have lived long lives, full of joy, struggle, and reflection. Their words are simple, but if you take them seriously, they could save you years of regret. We'll explore health, money, family, and even the little choices that made the biggest difference. So stay with us until the end, because the last lesson may surprise you, and it could change the way you live your life today. When elders look back on their lives, one of the first regrets they whisper is this: "I should have taken better care of my body earlier." They remember the days when they were young and strong. Running upstairs was easy. Carrying heavy bags didn't hurt their backs. Late nights didn't leave them exhausted the next morning. At the time, it felt like they could do anything. Their bodies seemed unbreakable, and they believed that good health would last forever. But now, many elders admit they were wrong. Health is like a gentle friend. If you look after it every day, it stays close and protects you. But if you ignore it, that friend slowly walks away, and when you finally turn around, you realize it's too far gone to reach again. Elders often regret waiting until it was too late to care about their health. They talk about small choices they didn't think mattered: skipping breakfast, eating too much fried food, ignoring the doctor's advice, or staying up too late for many nights in a row. They thought these little things were harmless. But over time, those choices grew into bigger problems: aches that never went away, sickness that became part of daily life, and a body that no longer listened the way it once did. One grandmother once said, "If I had walked just 30 minutes a day, I would have walked at my granddaughter's wedding. But I didn't. And when the day came, I had to sit and watch." Her words carry both sadness and wisdom. The truth is, health doesn't demand giant changes. You don't need to run marathons or give up every sweet treat. What matters are the simple, steady habits: drinking more water instead of soda, walking around the block instead of sitting all day, choosing vegetables more often, going to bed a little earlier. These small choices add up like coins in a jar. You barely notice at first, but over the years, the jar fills. And one day, you find yourself richer in health, stronger in spirit, and grateful you started early. Elders also remind us that health is not just about the body. It's about the mind and heart too. Stress, worry, and anger weigh you down just as much as junk food does. Taking care of health sooner means learning how to rest, how to breathe deeply, how to forgive, and how to laugh. Laughter, they say, is medicine no doctor can prescribe, yet it heals in ways science is still trying to explain. Many elders regret brushing off the signs their bodies gave them. A headache was just ignored. A sore back was pushed aside. A tired heart was told to keep going. They wish they had listened to those whispers before they became screams. The body always talks, but you have to choose to listen. Here is the simple truth elders want us to know: it's easier to protect your health now than to repair it later. Once the knees give in, once the lungs weaken, once the heart slows, it's hard to turn back time. But if you begin today, even with the smallest step, your future self will thank you. Imagine yourself at 70 or 80, still able to walk freely, still able to play with your grandchildren, still able to travel, laugh, and enjoy life. That future is built today with the choices you make this morning, this afternoon, and tonight. So elders say to us, don't wait until you are sitting in a doctor's office with regret in your chest. Start now. Take care of the body that carries you through this life. It is the only one you'll ever get. The message is simple: your body is your first home. Treat it with care. Feed it well. Move it daily. Rest it deeply. Love it enough to listen to it. Because once you lose health, you realize too late it was the most valuable thing you ever had. When elders look back on their lives, one of the regrets they often share has nothing to do with health or travel or love. It has to do with money. Not because money itself makes life worth living, but because the lack of it often brings stress, limits choices, and steals peace. Many elders admit that they wish they had started saving and investing much earlier. When they were young, money seemed like something that would always come later. They told themselves, "I'll save when I earn more," or "I'll start a retirement fund once I pay off these bills." But year after year, they found other things to spend on: a car, a new gadget, nicer clothes, a bigger house. The problem wasn't that those things were bad. The problem was that savings and investing were always pushed aside for someday. And someday never came. By the time many realized the importance of saving, decades had already slipped away. They lost the magic of what we call compound growth, the way money multiplies when you give it time. One elder explained it simply. If I had saved just a little bit each week when I was 20, I could have retired without worry. But I kept waiting until later. Later came too fast. Even small amounts make a difference. Imagine putting just $5 aside each week starting in your 20s. It seems tiny, but over 40 years, with the power of interest and growth, that small habit can turn into thousands. Elders often say they thought they needed to start big, but the truth is, starting small and staying consistent matters more than waiting for the perfect time. Debt is another part of this story. Many elders regret letting credit card debt or loans pile up when they were younger. They remember thinking, I'll pay it off next month. But next month often became next year. And interest turned small debts into heavy chains that followed them for decades. Some even say that debt cost them opportunities to buy a home earlier, to travel, or to invest in something meaningful. One grandmother shared her story. I always wanted to help my children with their college costs, but I couldn't. I was still paying for mistakes I made when I was young. If I had been wiser with money earlier, I could have given them the gift of freedom from debt. Stories like hers are common, and they carry an important lesson. Debt not only affects your life, it can also shape the lives of your family. But this regret also comes with hope. Elders want younger generations to know that it's never too late to start, but the earlier, the better. Saving and investing is not about becoming rich overnight. It's about building peace over time. It's about creating freedom, the freedom to retire without fear, the freedom to travel when you want, the freedom to help your family when they need it. Their advice is simple. Start now, start small, and stay steady. Even if you can only save a little, even if you can only invest a small amount, those small steps add up. Put money into savings before you spend on extras. Avoid debt when you can, and if you already have debt, face it early instead of waiting. Think of money as a tool, not a toy. Use it to build a safe, peaceful future. When elders look back, they don't regret skipping fancy clothes, missing out on the latest phone, or driving an older car. What they regret is not giving their future self the gift of financial peace. They regret the stress they carried in their later years because of choices they made when they were young. So if you are listening to their wisdom today, take it seriously. Imagine your 70-year-old self smiling with relief because you started saving just a little bit now. Imagine a future where you can spend time with family, explore the world, or simply rest without worry because you gave yourself that gift. Elders remind us that money isn't everything, but peace of mind is priceless. And saving earlier is the key to finding that peace. Many elders will tell you that one of their biggest regrets is waiting too long to travel. They thought they had time. They thought retirement would be the perfect season to explore the world. They worked hard, saved money, and promised themselves that one day, when the job was done and the kids were grown, they would finally see the places they had always dreamed about. But when retirement finally came, many of them discovered a hard truth. Their bodies weren't as strong anymore. The knees that once climbed mountains now ached just walking up the stairs. The back that carried bags with ease now strained under the weight of a small suitcase. The energy to wake up early and explore was no longer the same. One man in his 80s once said softly, I had the money when I was older, but not the legs. The mountains I wanted to climb became pictures on a postcard. That sentence carries so much truth. Travel is not just about money. It's also about strength, energy, and flexibility. And these things do not last forever. Elders often look back and wish they had gone when they were younger, when they could still walk long streets without pain, when they could still eat strange foods without worry, when they could still laugh late at night without feeling drained the next morning. They regret that they postponed joy for a tomorrow that never came. It is not only about visiting faraway lands. Many regret not even seeing the places close to them. They regret skipping road trips with friends, missing simple visits to nearby towns, or saying no to family holidays because of work. They realize too late that every small trip could have been a memory, a story to tell, or a picture to smile at years later. Travel is not just about crossing miles, it's about widening the heart. Elders say that traveling makes you humble. You see people who live differently, eat differently, and speak differently. You learn that the world is bigger than your own problems. You begin to see that joy is not only in money or success, but in moments shared under new skies. One grandmother shared, "I regret not taking my children to see more of the world. I thought staying home and working harder was better for them. But now I realize the memories we could have made together would have been worth more than all the things I bought." This lesson is simple but powerful. Don't wait for the perfect time to travel. The perfect time may never come. Money will never feel like enough. Work will never stop asking for your hours. Children will never stop needing something. If you wait for everything to be settled, you may wait your whole life. Travel does not have to be big or expensive. It can be a train ride to a nearby city, a walk in a national park, or a weekend camping trip. It can be watching the stars in a quiet place, or standing barefoot by the sea for the first time. These moments are treasures, and they do not need luxury to be meaningful. Elders remind us that the world changes quickly. Places you wish to see may not stay the same forever. A forest may disappear. A city may change. A beach may lose its charm. And more importantly, people change too. Friends may move away. Loved ones may grow older. The chance to explore together may not last. So, if you are young today, or even just younger than you will be tomorrow, take this advice to heart. Go while you can. Take the road trip. Save for the flight. Say yes to the invitation. Collect memories, not just money. Because one day, you will sit with your children or grandchildren and tell stories. Make sure those stories are filled with adventure, not regret. Traveling while still young is not about running away from life. It is about learning how wide and beautiful life really is. It is about filling your heart with experiences that will comfort you in old age. As one elder wisely put it, we don't remember the days we stayed at work. We remember the days we watched the sun rise in a new place. So don't wait. Pack the bag. Take the trip. Write the story. Do it now, while your body is strong, while your heart is curious, and while life is flexible enough to let you go. When elders look back on their lives, many say the heaviest regrets are not about money or jobs or even health. The regrets that cut the deepest are the words they never spoke. Words of love they held back. Hugs they didn't give. Calls they didn't make. They thought they had time. Time to tell their parents they loved them. Time to thank a teacher who helped them. Time to tell a friend how much they meant. But time, as every elder will tell you, is slippery. Days turn into weeks, weeks into years. And then one day, the chance is gone. One elderly woman said softly, "I wish I had told my father I loved him one more time. Now I say it only to his picture." Another man shared, "I thought my wife knew how much I cared. Of course she did, but I should have told her every day. After she passed, I realized silence is no comfort." These stories repeat again and again. Elders say they thought saying, "I love you," was something you saved for birthdays, anniversaries, or grand moments. But they've learned, too late, that the quiet, everyday moments were the ones that mattered most. The truth is, people need to hear love out loud. Yes, actions matter. Cooking dinner, giving rides, being there when someone is sick, all of that shows love. But words? Words are powerful. Words remind people that they are seen, valued, and cherished. And when spoken with honesty, those words echo long after we are gone. Think about this. Nobody has ever said, "I regret telling my mother I loved her too many times." Nobody ever says, "I wish I told my kids I loved them less." The regret is always silence. Elders want younger people to understand that speaking love doesn't weaken you. It doesn't make you soft or silly. It makes you brave. It builds bridges where walls once stood. It heals wounds you didn't even know were there. Many elders carry regrets about relationships that faded because they never spoke up. A fight with a brother, a misunderstanding with a friend, years of silence with a parent. In their hearts, love was still there, but pride or fear held back the words. Now, they look back and realize the love unspoken was the love lost. That is why their advice is so simple. Say it now. Say it often. Say it in small ways and big ones. Hug your children and whisper it before they sleep. Call your parents and tell them, even if it feels awkward. Look at your partner across the dinner table and speak it aloud, even if you think they already know. Because hearing it never grows old. One centenarian said, "I told my wife, I love you every morning, every evening, and sometimes in between. I never regretted it once. And when she passed, I had peace. I had no silence to regret." That is the lesson elders wish they lived earlier, Don't wait to speak love. Don't assume people just know. Don't save those words for later. Later may not come. So if you are listening right now, think of one person you care about. Maybe it's your mother. Maybe it's your father. Maybe it's a friend you haven't called in months. Maybe it's your partner who's sitting right next to you. Don't wait. Don't say someday. Say it today. Pick up the phone, walk into the room, or whisper it before bed. I love you. You matter to me. I'm glad you're in my life. Elders want us to know that life is short, but love makes it full. And the only real mistake is leaving love unsaid. So say it now. Say it while you can. And say it often. Many elders, when asked about their lives, don't talk about the risks they took with regret. In fact, most of the time, they smile when they tell those stories, even when the risks didn't work out. What they regret deeply are the chances they never took, the dreams they buried, the words they held back, the moments when fear made them choose safety instead of growth. They often say, I wish I was braver. When they were young, they believed that being safe was the smartest choice. Stay in the secure job. Don't move to a new city. Don't start that small business. Don't confess feelings to someone they cared about. Play it safe, and you'll be protected. That was the thinking. But looking back, they realized that safety came with a hidden cost. It stole the chance to find out what might have been. One elder shared a story about how he wanted to be a teacher. He loved books and children, but his parents told him teaching would not make enough money. He chose accounting instead. He worked for 40 years and provided for his family, but every time he passed a school, he wondered what it would have felt like to stand in front of a classroom and inspire young minds. He didn't regret being an accountant. He regretted never trying to teach. That's the difference elders understand too late. Failure fades, but regret lingers. If you fail, you learn. You adapt. You try again. You may even laugh about it years later. But when you don't try at all, there's no story to tell. Only silence. Elders remind us that the perfect moment never arrives. We wait for the right time, the right savings, the right approval from others. But time slips through our fingers while we wait. The risks that felt scary in youth begin to disappear as options with age. You can't go back to start that career at 60. You can't rebuild the energy of your 20s or 30s to move across the world. And you may never get another chance to tell someone how you really felt. One elderly woman shared how she stayed silent when her best friend confessed feelings for her. She was too afraid of changing the friendship. Her friend eventually moved on, got married, and moved away. 50 years later, she still wonders what could have been. The pain wasn't in rejection. It was in never knowing. This is why elders urge the younger generation, be bold. Take the chance. Not recklessly, but courageously. Say yes more often. Try the business idea. Ask the person out. Sign up for the class. Move to the city that excites you. Because even if you stumble, you'll have a story worth telling, and maybe, just maybe, it will work out better than you imagined. Think about it this way. When you're 80, sitting in a chair looking back on your life, will you care that you failed at something once or twice? Or will you ache for the dreams you never gave yourself permission to chase? Elders say the ache of regret is much heavier than the sting of failure. Failure heals. Regret doesn't. So take this lesson from them. The bold choice may feel scary now, but years later, it will feel like the only choice worth making. As one 92-year-old man said with a chuckle, when I fell, I got back up. But the times I didn't jump, those are the ones I still think about. Let this be your reminder. Failure fades, but regret lasts forever. So be bold. When elders look back on their lives, one of the most common regrets is this. They didn't spend enough time with the people they loved. They often say, I thought I had more time. I thought I could make it up later. But later doesn't always come. Children grow up, parents pass away, friends drift apart, and the moments we thought would always be waiting are suddenly gone. Many elders remember working long hours or chasing success, believing they were doing it for their families. They thought money, status, or comfort would bring happiness. But now, when they sit in their rocking chairs or gather at family dinners, they admit the truth. The meetings, the deadlines, the trophies, they don't matter as much as the laughter they missed, the birthdays they skipped, or the conversations they never had. One grandfather explained it perfectly. He said, I built my business, but I missed my son's childhood. I thought I could buy him gifts to show love, but all he wanted was my presence. That kind of regret stays heavy in the heart. Elders often describe small moments that meant the most. Holding hands during a walk, sitting down for a meal without rushing, telling bedtime stories, or simply listening. Those are the treasures of life. Not the cars, not the houses, not the bank accounts. Love and connection are the real riches. The lesson is simple. Relationships outlast success. No matter how far you go in your career or how much money you make, none of it feels complete if you're alone at the table. Elders know this deeply. They urge younger people to put down the phone, shut the laptop, and give attention to the faces in front of them. Because one day, those faces might not be there. This doesn't mean we should abandon work or ignore responsibilities. Elders are clear about that. Work has its place. It helps provide and sustain. But they insist that balance matters. They wish they had left the office earlier, said yes to dinner more often, attended the school plays, or taken the trip with family instead of postponing it. They remind us that success at work feels empty if it comes at the cost of love at home. Another grandmother shared her story. She said, "I kept thinking I would visit my sister next year. She lived only 2 hours away. But one day, the call came. She was gone. I never took that simple drive, and I can never get it back." Her eyes filled with tears as she spoke. That's the kind of pain elders carry when they realize how precious time truly is. Relationships are not just about avoiding regret. They also keep people alive longer. Studies show that strong social bonds lower stress, protect the heart, and even extend life. Elders who spend time with family and friends feel happier and healthier. They laugh more, worry less, and find meaning in their days. That's why in places where people live past 100, like Okinawa or Sardinia, community is everything. People eat together, walk together, celebrate together. Loneliness is rare, and life is rich. So what can we learn? Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for retirement, or a raise, or less stress at work. The perfect moment is today. Sit with your parents. Play with your children. Call your friend. Hug your partner. These are the memories you will carry when everything else fades. Elders remind us with gentle voices. Nobody lies on their deathbed wishing they worked more hours. But many lie there wishing for one more conversation, one more dinner, one more laugh with the people they love. That is why they beg us to choose people over things. The lesson is clear, simple, and powerful. If you want a life without heavy regret, spend time with loved ones now. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Today. Because relationships outlast success, and love is the only treasure that grows richer the more you share it. When elders look back at their lives, one of the most common things they whisper is, "I wish I had started learning earlier." They don't just mean school or college. They mean the hobbies they dreamed of, the languages they admired, the music they wanted to play, or the crafts they wanted to create with their own hands. Many people wait until someday. They say, "I'll learn the guitar when I have more free time," or "I'll pick up painting after I retire." But the truth elders discovered is that someday rarely comes. Life keeps moving, and when you finally reach retirement, you may no longer have the energy, patience, or even the memory to learn in the same way you could have when you were younger. One elderly man shared, "I always wanted to play the piano. I told myself I'd start lessons later. Now, my hands shake, and I can't move my fingers the way I want. I love the sound of music, but I'll never know what it feels like to play it myself." That regret is heavy. It's not about missing fame or money. It's about missing joy. Because learning a new skill brings a special kind of happiness, a sense of growth, confidence, and pride. Imagine strumming your first song on a guitar, speaking your first sentence in a new language, or painting a picture you didn't think you could create. Elders say those small victories fill life with excitement and keep the mind young. Skills also connect us to others. A grandmother once said, "I never learned how to bake properly. I regret not learning when I was younger, because I wish I could have taught my grandchildren my own special recipes." Simple skills like cooking, sewing, woodworking, or gardening are not just hobbies. They are bridges between generations. They create memories, traditions, and gifts that outlast a lifetime. Elders also point out something powerful. Skills keep the brain alive. When you challenge your mind to learn something new, you build new connections inside your brain. This can help memory, focus, and creativity. That's why many elders say they wish they had started earlier, because the earlier you start, the longer you enjoy those benefits. But here's the beautiful truth. While many elders regret not starting sooner, they also remind us it's never too late. Even if you're 60, 70, or 80, picking up a small skill can still bring joy. One 85-year-old woman shared, "I started painting at 75. I'm not very good, but when I paint, I feel like a child again. I wish I had started earlier, but I'm grateful I started at all. So what's the lesson for you and me? Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until you feel ready, or rich, or free. Just start now. If you want to learn guitar, buy a simple one and practice 5 minutes a day. If you want to speak Spanish, download an app or join a class. If you want to paint, buy a brush and some colors. You don't need to be great. You just need to begin. Elders remind us that skills are not about perfection, they are about joy. Nobody cares if your drawing is crooked or your song is out of tune. What matters is that you tried, that you grew, and that you added another color to the canvas of your life. They regret waiting because waiting stole time, but they want us to learn from their mistake. Start small, start clumsy, start now. Because one day, when you're 80 or 90, you don't want to say, I wish I had. You want to smile and say, I'm glad I did. Many elders, when they sit down and think about their lives, share one of the same regrets. They spent too much time waiting for someday. Someday they would rest. Someday they would be happy. Someday they would finally enjoy the life they were working so hard to build. But as the years slipped away, they discovered that someday never truly arrived. Life was always busy, always demanding, always pushing them to think about the next thing instead of the moment right in front of them. One grandfather once explained it like this: I was always running. I ran through work, I ran through meals, I even ran through vacations. But in all that rushing, I missed the very moments I was rushing for. His words sound simple, but they carry a heavy truth. He was so focused on the future that he never stopped to notice the present. Think about it. How often do we hurry through breakfast without tasting the food? How often do we listen with half an ear because we are already thinking about our to-do list? How often do we dream of big milestones, graduations, new jobs, retirement, while ignoring the little joys that are right here, right now? Elders say this is one of the biggest traps in life. You can be so focused on the future that you forget to live in the only time that truly belongs to you, today. Many elders remember moments they brushed aside because they were too busy. They remember children tugging on their sleeve, asking to play. They remember sunsets seen from car windows, but not truly watched. They remember dinners spent checking the clock instead of listening to the laughter around the table. Later in life, they realized those tiny moments were the treasures they had been chasing all along. One grandmother shared her story. She said she used to think happiness was waiting for her in the future. She told herself she would finally be happy when she had a bigger house, or when her children were grown, or when she had enough money to retire. But when those milestones finally came, she looked back and saw that the happiest times had already happened. Reading bedtime stories to her kids, drinking tea with her husband on the porch, laughing with friends over a simple meal. Happiness wasn't waiting for me in the future, she said softly. It was hiding in the small things I didn't pay attention to. This is the heart of the lesson elders want us to hear. Happiness is not found only in grand achievements. It lives inside the little things: the taste of warm bread, the sound of birds in the morning, the hug of someone you love, the laughter of a child. These moments may seem ordinary, but they are the building blocks of a life that feels full. Elders regret rushing past them. They wish they had slowed down, breathed deeply, and noticed the beauty in the everyday. So, how do we learn from this? The advice elders give is simple: pause. When you wake up, notice the sunlight coming through your window. When you eat, taste your food slowly. When someone talks to you, put down your phone and truly listen. When you laugh, don't rush past it. Enjoy the feeling. Even 5 minutes of full presence can change the way you feel. Living in the present doesn't mean forgetting the future. It means balancing hope with attention. Yes, plan for tomorrow, but don't lose today in the process. Elders remind us that the future is never promised, but the present moment is always here, waiting to be lived. In the end, the regret of always chasing someday is one of the heaviest elders carry. But their wisdom gives us a chance to do better. We can choose to notice the gifts of today before they slip away. As one elder put it, if you are always chasing the horizon, you will miss the flowers at your feet. So take this lesson to heart. Slow down, look around, and live in the present. Someday is uncertain, but today is a gift. When elders are asked what weighs heaviest on their hearts, many do not speak of money or missed chances. Instead, they whisper about the years lost to anger. They remember family members they didn't talk to, friends they cut off, or neighbors they avoided. The regret is not only about the arguments themselves, but about the silence that followed. One elderly man once said, "I did not speak to my brother for 20 years. We fought over something small, and I was too proud to forgive. When he died, I realized I had wasted 2 decades that could have been filled with laughter and memories. Now I carry that silence as my heaviest burden." Stories like his are heartbreakingly common. Elders admit that grudges grow heavier the longer you hold them. At first, anger feels like strength. It feels like you are standing up for yourself. But over time, anger turns into chains. It steals peace, keeps families apart, and fills hearts with regret. They say forgiveness is not about excusing what happened. It does not mean forgetting or saying the hurt did not matter. Forgiveness means choosing freedom. It means refusing to let the past steal the present. Elders who forgave, even late in life, say it was like dropping a heavy stone they had carried for years. Their shoulders lifted, their hearts softened, their smiles returned. Another grandmother explained, "I held on to my pain like it was a treasure, but it was only poison. When I forgave, I found peace I had been missing for half my life." Elders wish they had understood this sooner. They wish they had said, "I'm sorry," earlier, made the phone call sooner, or walked across the street to make peace before time ran out. Because that is the cruel truth of grudges. Time runs out. People leave, and the chance to forgive goes with them. So what can we learn from their regret? The lesson is simple but powerful. Don't wait. If there is someone you are angry at today, reach out. If there is a wound you carry, let it heal. If words of apology are stuck in your throat, speak them now. Because forgiveness is not only a gift to the other person, it is a gift to yourself. Psychologists say holding a grudge increases stress, blood pressure, and even illness. But elders don't need science to tell them this. They felt the weight of grudges in their own bodies: tight chests, sleepless nights, and hearts that grew hard. When they finally let go, they discovered that forgiveness was medicine, not for the past, but for the present and the future. Imagine for a moment carrying a heavy backpack full of stones everywhere you go. Every year, you add another stone. At first, you can carry it. But as time goes on, it becomes unbearable. Forgiveness is like setting that backpack down. The stones don't disappear, but they no longer weigh you down. That is the peace elders wish they had found sooner. They tell us that relationships are fragile. Friendships break, families drift apart, and pride builds walls where love used to live. Many of them spent years standing behind those walls, guarding their pain, only to discover that life is too short to live without peace. Their advice to us is urgent. Choose love over pride. Choose peace over pain. Choose freedom over anger. Because one day you will wish you had. So let us listen to the voices of those who walked before us. Let us not carry grudges into old age. Let us forgive while we still can. Not because it is easy, but because it is worth it. Many elders say that one of their deepest regrets is not believing in themselves soon enough. When they look back, they remember times when they had big dreams but were too afraid to start. They remember moments when they wanted to speak up, create, travel, or try something new, but doubt whispered in their ears. What if you fail? What if people laugh? What if you're not good enough? At the time, those doubts felt so strong, like walls too high to climb. And so they waited. They told themselves, maybe later. Maybe when I feel ready. Maybe when I have more time, more money, more skill. But later often never came. Years passed, and the chance slowly slipped away. One elderly woman once said with tears in her eyes, "I wanted to write books. I had stories in my heart, but I was afraid nobody would read them. I waited until I was 70 to finally begin. By then, I realized I had lost decades I could have spent creating." Another man admitted, "I always worried about what others would think. Would they judge me? Would they laugh? Now I see I lived half of my life in fear of shadows that never existed." Elders confess that fear was never the real problem. It was waiting for fear to disappear. They thought courage meant having no fear. But the truth, they say, is very different. Courage is moving forward even while fear is still there. They wish they had discovered sooner that confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. You don't wake up one day suddenly filled with certainty. You gain certainty by trying, by falling, by learning, and by standing up again. Think about a child learning to ride a bike. At first, they wobble and fall. They're nervous, even scared. But with each try, they grow braver. Their confidence doesn't appear out of thin air, it grows through action. Elders say life works the same way. When they look back, they don't regret the times they tried and failed. In fact, they often smile at those memories. Failing gave them stories, lessons, and sometimes even new paths they never expected. What hurts them most are the times they never tried at all. The dreams that stayed locked inside their hearts are the ones that sting the most. One woman said, "I wish I had believed in myself when I was young enough to take more chances. I could have traveled. I could have painted. I could have loved more deeply. But I kept waiting for someone else to tell me I was good enough. That approval never came, and I lost so much time." That's why so many elders now urge younger people to stop waiting. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for fear to vanish. Because the truth is, there is no perfect moment. Fear never fully leaves. And the longer you wait, the heavier the regret becomes. Instead, they say begin small. Take one step toward your dream, even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble. Write the first page. Make the first call. Learn the first skill. Confidence grows like a fire. You must strike the first spark before it can spread. Elders remind us, people are not watching you as closely as you think. The critics you fear are often too busy worrying about themselves. The shadows in your mind are louder than the reality outside. And the truth is, even if some people laugh or doubt you, their voices will fade. What stays forever is the quiet pride you feel for daring to try. So if they could whisper one message into the ears of their younger selves, it would be this: believe sooner. Trust yourself earlier. Don't waste years waiting to feel worthy. Because one day, you will look back, and you will not wish you played smaller, safer, quieter. You will wish you dared sooner, trusted yourself earlier, and lived louder. Elders know this truth now, and they share it with us so we don't have to carry the same regret. Confidence is not given, it is built, and it begins the very moment you take the first step. And there you have it, 10 things elders wish they had done earlier in life. These lessons may sound simple, but when you hear them from someone who has lived for 70, 80, or even 90 years, they carry real weight. Take care of your health before it asks for too much back. Save a little money while time is still your friend. Travel when your legs are strong. Say, "I love you," while the people you love are still here. Take risks, spend time with family, learn new things, live in the moment, let go of anger, and most of all, believe in yourself. Elders remind us that life is not about chasing perfection. It's about filling your days with meaning, with people you love, and with choices you won't regret. The good news is you don't need to wait until you are old to understand this. You can start today. So, let me ask you, which lesson speaks to you the most? Share it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more wisdom you'll thank yourself for later. Because in the end, a life well lived is not measured by years alone, but by the choices we make every single day.